Last year's inaugural NASCAR All-Star Showdown was a Cinderella story. Austin Cameron won the race at the end of a season in which he had to battle cancer. Austin has added 5 more NASCAR Grand National West Series wins this season and now seeks to defend his Showdown title this weekend. Austin, welcome to Wind Tunnel. It's great to have you here. We've been looking forward to this.
Well, thank you very much. I've been looking forward to it too, Dave.
We're going to get to your off-track heroics in due time, but first let's tackle the racing news. Tell me about your big season's finale at Irwindale this weekend. Who's going to be there, and are you going to be the guy to beat again this year?
Well, if you're asking me, absolutely. I'm going to be the guy to beat in that number 16 Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet. It's going to be a tough one. We do really well at Irwindale, and you know that track is pretty special to me. And that's kind of where I came back to racing after cancer treatment, and so you know it's got a special place in my heart. And you know I seem to do extra well there.
Is it? Tell me about the challenge of all these guys coming in though from all over the country. You're going to be seeing some cats you haven't seen before. Is that fun to get them on your home turf? And this, by the way, is the victory last year. There's the checkered flag for number 16, and congratulations, Austin Cameron. All right.
You know, it's great to be able to see Andy Santerre and Matt Kobieluk, all those guys from the Busch North Series. They bring a lot, to the series, to this Toyota All-Star Showdown. It's a great thing. I think NASCAR has really come up with a great idea having this showdown, because it brings the best of the best, and it gives us one time to show who's king of all.
Where does winning this race last year rank in terms of your career accomplishments?
Oh, it's got to be number one. It's definitely got to be number one, because the whole deal last year, we thought, the first race, we thought we had a chance to win the championship. Had a minor speed bump with the cancer and missed 4 races. And I tell you what, it was everything I could do to get back in that car and, tell the doctors that I'm fine, and, get NASCAR to approve to let me go out there. And, once I did, it was like the best therapy I could ever possibly imagine. So,
yeah.
And then not being able to win the championship and just making it 15th in points, I made it by the hair of my chinny chin chin. So
to actually qualify, because
awesome.
they just took the top 15 guys in points. So you first had to get yourself into it, and then having gotten into it to go win it, made it, as we said, the Cinderella story. Let's go ahead and tackle the portion of the story that we've both alluded to here. It can only be described as inspirational, and as evidence of that, I'll offer you this email. It says, Austin, I just want to thank you. Late last year, I was diagnosed with the same kind of cancer that you have been successfully battling. Knowing that you have beaten this cancer and come back to win a big race like the Irwindale race helped me to realize that I can beat this cancer too. I wish you the best of luck in the future, and I will continue to root for you from here on the East Coast. That's from Brian Goss in West Babylon, New York. Good luck to you, Brian. Let's get the story from Austin. How did you discover that you had cancer?
Okay, well, the beginning of the year, 2003, the first race was at Las Vegas Speedway at the Bull Ring there, 3/8 mile oval. And, I had 2 weeks prior to that, I was at my office, I think, walking up the stairs. I got to the top of the stairs and kind of thought, boy, like I'm kind of out of breath or short of breath, and I thought that was kind of weird. And progressively, as time wound down to the first race, I ended up, feeling like I got a cold and some kind of ugly sounding cough, and got to the race, and I asked my mom, I said, Mom, like, I feel like I'm getting a cold, but I don't really feel that bad, but I can't breathe very well. And I didn't think anything of it, being a guy.
Yeah, tough guy,
right? The doctors or anything. So I ended up racing the race, and I got really frustrated behind the wheel, and just had a very un-Austin Cameron-like race, and I ended up getting disqualified, black flagged. A bunch of chain events happened that I didn't want to happen, and ended up getting disqualified, and went home Monday morning. My fiance, Rochelle, said she thought I wasn't acting just quite right. Like there was something about it. I had crashed during the evening and hit the wall, and she thought there might be something wrong. So she drugged me to the emergency room, and went to ask what's wrong. I talked to the doctors, and 6-7 hours later, they showed up next to the bed I was at in the emergency room and said, we're sorry to tell you, but you have cancer. I thought,
wow.
Wow.
I need a break right there, and then when I come back, I want you to tell me what kind of cancer and what it took to beat it. But what an amazing way to get your racing season started. That's Austin Cameron as he kicked off the 2003 season. The season ended, of course, with the big win. We'll be right back. Welcome back. My guest is Austin Cameron, talking about his rather eventful 2003 season. Shows up for the first race. Things aren't quite normal. Goes to the doctor. Finds out he has cancer. How did you react to that news? I mean, that had to be the bombshell of bombshells.
You're telling me. As a matter of fact, I was talking to one of the guys working on your show prior to this event, and he was asking me questions about what my reaction was that day, and I thought, boy, I don't remember. I had to ask my fiance Rochelle. I had to ask her, like, what happened that day exactly? Can you tell me? Because it's just like it was a blank. I mean, I didn't know what to do. I remember them telling me what it was and looking at the X-ray and seeing the mass, the large, they call it a mediastinal mass. So I saw that thing. It was about the size of a whoopee cushion and squeezing my trachea and my lung off. So. That was the reason I had the cough and trouble breathing. But, it was a state of awe. I thought, no, I'm too young.
Yeah,
no way.
Sure, exactly. So you had surgery, you had chemotherapy, you had radiation. I mean, they threw everything in the book at you. And the part of the story that struck a chord with me, because it's so racer-like, is that you got to have the little intake valve. I don't know what they call it. They got to put in there for the chemotherapy, right?
Called the port.
The port, yeah. You ain't letting them put that port any place where the belts are going to rub on it, right? Is that?
No, I had a couple different choices, and the chest was one, and they said, well, how about your right arm? And I said, no, that's my shifting arm.
Got to shift with that arm. So they ended up putting it in your left arm, right?
Yeah, I don't have to do much of that one.
I've heard stories about chemotherapy that it stops people in their tracks, and for you to be able to not only have the chemo but also the radiation and still keep racing, give me some sense of how you accomplished that and how difficult it was.
Well, it was, I don't know, I didn't think of it as difficult, at the time, because I was so focused on getting back, into the race car. And the day they told me that I couldn't race because of a sudden deceleration or acceleration, the tumor would press against, I guess, some of my veins or the superior vena cava or something, and I'd have a chance to kill myself instantly. And so from that day forth, I was like, all I'm going to do is try to get back in the race car, because that was the best therapy I could ever imagine. I mean, that was the worst day of my life. Probably worse than when they told me I had cancer is that I couldn't race. Mm-hmm. So, it was pretty rough.
Given all this, what message would you now send to other people who hear that diagnosis?
Well, I'd tell you that attitude is more than 50% of the battle. I've always heard that saying. People have told me, just keep your head up high, keep your chin up, and, fight through this thing. And, it's never hit harder than when I got news of this. I kept my attitude up, and I tried to not let others, bring me down, or I didn't want to, create any kind of drama. I just wanted to live my life as normal as possible, even though I was far from normal, I guess. But I really have no explanation, man. I tell you what, just keep your head up and just keep on rolling, because the attitude is huge in this deal. You keep your attitude up and you'll whip it.
We hear all the time that life and death experiences put things in perspective and teach us what really matters in life and all the rest of that. And I'm wondering how this has affected your attitude about racing. Are you content to be an inspiration for other cancer survivors, the guy who beat the Big C and still drove race cars, or are you still hungry to win races and win championships and move up the ladder until your on-track success overshadows this and people forget about you being the racer who had cancer? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I know exactly what you mean. You know, I want to do both, if you know what I mean. I really want to. I want to do this and be the best example I can be for other cancer victims, and I also want to continue my racing career because that's the only thing I've ever done since I've been like 9 years old, and it's what I know. I know I'm good at it. I know I have the potential, and I just need the right opportunity. And so I don't necessarily want my racing career to overshadow it because cancer has probably made me a better person.
Let's go to the phones. Let's get the viewers involved. We got Michael on the line up in Harbor, Oregon. Michael, you're talking to Austin Cameron. Go ahead.
Yeah, Austin, man, you're an inspiration to quite a few people there. Just wondering if Dave knows where we're at here. We're 3,000 miles east of Hawaii, just so he knows that. And just wondering how your fishing trip went, and if you have the T-shirt on we gave you, and if you have any chances of going on to the truck, Busch, or Nextel, dude.
Well, yeah. Well, I think I sure hope I have the potential and the chances to make to the Busch or Cup. You know, I think I know somebody out there will see it and hopefully take notice and appreciate the things that I've done and the effort I've put forth, because you know my heart and soul's in it, and I'll give it everything I got. So, you know, yes, I did have a good fishing trip. I had a better one last year because I caught a lot more fish up there in right on the border of California and Oregon. I had a great time fishing, but this year we got skunked, but I still had a good time.
Still had a good time. That's a good thing about a well-done fishing trip. You don't have to catch fish. I need a break right there. I want to pursue this business of this young man's career future. There has been an announcement of sorts here in the last day or so. We'll follow up on that with Austin Cameron and take some additional phone calls as Wind Tunnel continues.